Okay. So I had the benefit of the doubt with this movie. I ever heard about it. Uh, but I gave myself the benefit of the doubt. I had doubts about this movie because the trailers didn't, impress me much. Like Shania Twain, it don't impress me much. So I didn't know what to think. I still don't know what to think. So a plot crunch here. A group of friends, high society, Gen Zers with lots of money, except for one of them, gather. Two of them are not. I'm saying except for two, because you got, well, gather for this party, a hurricane party, which, yeah, those things are definitely real. And then Pete Davidson ends up dead. And now they're playing this game called Bodies, 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 where you turn off all the lights and you draw a bunch of papers. One of them has X on it. Turn off all the lights. Whoever has X, they're the killer. So they go around and they poke someone, and that's killing them, right? And this causes problems. Who it was. But then Pete Davidson shows up, ends up dead, and so they have to figure out who killed him, and that causes a lot of paranoia, a lot of problems, and other people end up getting dead, and so it becomes slamming the goddamn door. It becomes sort of slasher-esque, a whodunit, kind of like a Clue. But to me, the reveal doesn't work for me. It felt like they were leaning one way heavily towards one thing, and then like, oh look, haha, guess what? This is what happened. And it was like, no. So let's sit down and talk about Bodies, 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 and why they went the wrong way. Okay, how they went the wrong way. So first and foremost, I knew no actors in this except for two. We have Pete Davidson, who is in his 30s, so he's not really a Gen Zer. And then you have Lee Pace, who is in his 40s. Definitely not a Gen Zer. I don't understand why they say these are all Gen Zs. Pete Davidson. Then like they say that they can't all be in their 20s. They gotta be. I mean, I know that Maria Bakalova, who plays B, she's in her 20s. I didn't look at the other actresses. But I guess maybe Pete Davidson's playing younger. I don't know. But, yeah. So, yes. And they do cast suspicion as to who it could be, because they mentioned a guy named Max. They got an altercation with Pete Davidson's character, David. That's why he has a black eye. So, yeah. But we don't see Max. Here's the movie. Excuse me. We don't see Max until the end of the movie. At all. And it once comes into play. Spoiler alert, he's not the killer. Alright? So, they do this game. Bodies, Bodies, Bodies. I explain how it worked. And then they start pointing fingers at who it could be. It could be Emma. It could be David. Well, look at that David, Lee Pace's character, Greg, he's the one that's killed, so he takes a leave. He goes, I'm going to go lay down, go sleep. Sort of thing. So right away, if you're one of those people that just want a straight up horror movie, this is not for you. And the first scene of this, like if you are one of those people who are set in your ways, in certain aspects of the way life is, especially in 2022, you're going to start this movie. You're going to see two women making out. You're going to be like, fuck this. Right? Especially if you're one of those people that turn their nose to that sort of thing and think only a man and a woman should be. Like, if you're religious, don't watch this. I'm just saying. If you're religious and you believe that stuff about only a man and a woman can lay together, don't watch this. Because right away, you're going to be turned off. Just saying. Me, myself, I don't mind it. I'm open. Love who you want to love, right? Doesn't matter to me. Uh, but that did catch me. I'm like, oh, haters are gonna hate this. I'm not a hater. I'm fine with it. Now you may be saying, oh yeah, you're fine if it's 2 women but 2 guys. I don't care. Love who you want to love. Okay, love who you want to love. If you like pie, have pie. You like sausage, have sausage. I don't care. Love who you want to love. Okay? Okay. Now that I'm done with that, the movie, right? So, like I said, this happens, and there's some animosity between Greg and David, and then David turns up dead. They're going to the house. The power goes out because of hurricane, which, by the way, they don't ever seem too concerned with the fact there's a hurricane barreling down on them at all. No concern. Not at all. Nope. I mean, come on. Hurricanes are devastating, but they're just like partying and stuff, you know. So our 2 characters, B and Sophie, they're in a relationship, right? And Sophie used to be an addict. She's not, she's sober. She's not doing that stuff. And she does point out later, like, everybody is doing that stuff around her. And they're like, why have you hung out with us? Because they're enabling her. She has a point. Every time she's around them, they're doing that stuff. And it's kind of hard to not be pulled back into that. And, like, as soon as she starts talking about, oh, you've been using? I'm like, it reminds me of Evil Dead, the remake, where it's like, she starts saying there's weird things going on, and then, oh, have you been using? And here, she's speaking up about, it's like the killer, basically, and she's like, have you been using? I'm like, what? No. But they do a good job in doing that paranoia, like, who is it? Who's gonna snap? And they're not sure who it is, and so they're at each other's throats after this has happened, and that works. And it would work if they didn't go for the ending that they went for. And I get that's why they did it. This ending that they go for, they did that because it's all about the paranoia between them, that they were all wrong. But, because we get the twist, we get the reveal of who the killer is, and then the movie just ends, basically. And it's like, no, you cannot just end it there. You have to show us aftermath. What happens after this? What are the effects on these people? You have shown us the paranoia. Yes, I haven't revealed the twist yet. They give us this paranoia stuff. What about the aftermath of that? You can't just show us all the paranoia and then show us none of the after effects. It shows nothing of how it's going to affect these people afterwards. So, to explain the twist and the killer, we have to go back to an earlier scene. So, when the 2 girls first get there, right, to say, hey, what's up, bitches, and all that stuff, and then Lee Pace grabs a bottle of champagne and cuts it with his big fancy machete knife thing. Able to open the bottle that way, right? That connects to the killer because they think that's one of the reasons why they think it's him, because it's that blade and he was at odds with David. Well, by the end of the film, the last 2 people alive are Sophie and B. And at this point, they're at each other's throats because supposedly Sophie cheated on B with another girl there named Jordan. It's apparently true, although we never get confirmation from the message. They say check the messages on her phone. We never get that because that's all leading to the twist. But she does find a pair of underwear, panties, in the car later. So, yeah. And by the way, I know that it's realistic, but it's fucking stupid that they can't get away because she left the car mirror down. You couldn't have found another way? There's a storm out there. Car got hit by lightning. Or how about, there's a freaking hurricane, they can't drive. Really? They're in the middle of a hurricane, and the reason they can't drive is because there's no battery power because she left the mirror down. How about the reason she can't drive is because they're in a freaking hurricane? Common sense. You literally have the hurricane barreling down on them. And they had to come up with an idea why they couldn't drive away. They couldn't just say, oh, hey, what about the hurricane? No, she left the mirror down. Hurricane! It's right there. Come in. Anyway, it is revealed. We're down to the last two. She's like, let me see your messages. Right? Like, there's reveals that they've been lying to each other. You know, she may have been with Jordan, or what's her face? The girl B lied to her about her job because she was ashamed of how her life was because Sophie is so rich. So, you know. She was working at a, what did she say it was? Not a GameStop, but a game place. It's a mock of GameStop, whatever. But they closed the location, which, is Sophie the only one who didn't know that they closed it? Because when a location closes, people know about it. Although, when our GameStop closed, we didn't realize it until Big LT was walking to Walmart and say, hey, I think GameStop is closed. We're like, what? Sometimes you don't notice, but it's in the mall, so somebody noticed. Just saying. But anyway, so she says, let me see your phone. She throws the phone, and the rest thing around in mud, and she picks up a phone that turns out to be David's phone. So they decide to they use his eyes to open it, and then they look at his last video that was going to be on TikTok for some reason. Why? Was it on there when it came out? I don't know. But it's a video of him trying to open it, like open the bottle like Greg did, and he's slashing it away. It's not working, so he starts slashing it towards him. Slices his own throat. So David is dead because he's a dumbass and accidentally killed himself. And then Max, who we keep talking about throughout the entire film, shows up in the end asking what happened. Because he dropped him off there and then left. Because he was the biggest red herring in the fucking movie. He dropped him off there. They're all alone. The only one's in Sophie's car. And, you know. And now that's, again, hurricane. You know. It just, yeah. In my opinion, you should have had a concrete killer. This cop-out ending only serves the fact that you were trying to focus on the paranoia of the thing. But again, that's good. All the paranoia stuff, it worked. The dialogue kind of is bad, but all the paranoia, everything that you hear on Twitter, they spew it out, basically. And all that paranoia stuff, it works because, you know, they end up everyone almost killing themselves. But again, we don't see any aftermath from it. We don't see anything come after it. These two girls are now left there with Max. Everyone else is dead. And all we get is, I have service. And the movie ends. And I'm just like, but what happened after that? We need to have this movie was 93 minutes long. It's not that long. But if you have made this, I don't know if you could sit through a 2-hour movie, because at one point I'm like, how much longer is this? And I was an hour in, so I had a half hour left. But if you made this an hour and 45 minutes, just an extra 15 minutes or so, where we follow them, we find out what happened, like what's going to happen to us now, what's going to happen to them, because people are dead, and, you know. By the way, is it Emma? Is it the one that they found down the stairs? That you fell down the stairs? Because you don't bleed out of your mouth when you fall down the stairs. I've seen many, many movies. People fall down the stairs and it's because they broke their neck and she's got blood out of it. And the only reason they did that is so that it could look like someone killed her. You don't bleed out of your mouth, at least I've never seen it, when you fall down the stairs. I've never seen any movie where that happens. Until now. Could happen. You get some internal bleeding, maybe, but out of your mouth? But yeah, like, how did she die? Did she trip and fall on the stairs? What happened? I don't know. It should have been a concrete killer, and there's one of two ways to do it. What if this party was a setup? You could say it was Max, or you could say it was Jordan, or they're in on it together. They were in on it together, but Max didn't want to be fully a part of it, so he dropped everyone off there. They were not expecting Sophie and B, which fucked up their plans. The idea was for them to play bodies, 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 although it was Sophie's idea, so who knows? If you're right, it's a different way. To play bodies, 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 and take it another way. People start dying. And that Jordan was always... It's revealed Jordan was the killer in Bodies, Bodies, Bodies. She had the X paper. She goes to clean up. By the way, the whole she sees her find a gun, and then like, hey, you have a gun in your pockets. When you look at what Jordan's wearing, you know there's no fucking gun in there. It'll be sticking out of her pants. It's... You have a gun. You have a gun. In what way could those pants hide a gun? Watch the scene. If you're not watching the whole movie, watch the scene where she's accusing her of having a gun in her pocket. Those pants cannot hold a gun in there without it popping out the side. And then she pulls the gun out of her ass, maybe. I don't know. Later, but yeah. I don't know, but there is no aftermath with this. Right? So either Jordan is killer, Max is somehow involved, or Max is the killer. But no, this is all about paranoia. That's all it is. It's all about the paranoia. And dumbass Pete Davidson killed himself off accidentally in a dumbass way. To their credit, if you're going to get someone to do that, Pete Davidson is kind of believable actor to portray that kind of character. So I would get that. But, like, they kill Greg. Like, B is the one that stabs Greg. So there's that. These girls are going to jail. Okay, they, you know. I don't know. But there's nothing afterwards. It just ends. I feel like I need more. 15 more minutes to show us what happens to these girls and stuff. Just, no. So at the end of the day, guys, Bodies, Bodies, Bodies is just not worth it. It's not. To me, some people, James A. Janice, Dead Meat, he put this in his top movies of 2022. Top horror movies, I should say. Good for him. I did not care for this movie. But I'm going to give it a middle of the road. Because it's not worth your time. If you like movies with paranoia. Will I ever watch this again? Maybe. But it's not my cup of tea, per se. The dialogue's a little bit meh for me. I was born in 87. I lived through the 90s and the 2000s. This Gen Z stuff, all the dialogue, stuff like this, not for me. But, you know, to each their own, I guess. But it's fine. I may put it on again one day if I'm bored or something. Put it in the background. Whatever. But, no. It's the middle of the road. Really. Acting performances are really good. That's why. And, like, the whole paranoia thing is cool. I kept swearing it was going to be Max. Because they keep mentioning, like, it has to be him. Either him or he's the biggest red herring in this movie. And it was one of those two, so... yeah, it was red herring. But yeah, so what are your thoughts on Bodies, Bodies, Bodies? Let me know in the comments below. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe. Thank you for watching. I've been Scotty, and I'll see you in the next one.